We're down to 10.
All right, good morning, everyone. We are live here for the day 3, the final day of the Global Amazing Shake competition. And we're going to head to the stage now to see what's going on.
Dante Beaumont.
Top 8 from the top 10.
Lucas Couto.
Yes.
Reagan Workman. Deasia Smith. Jack Harrington. James Burke. Morgan Clark. Alec Wernes. And Evelyn Blything.
So what's happening now, these are the top 10 students who competed in the Breakfast of Champions this morning. We're about to find out who those top 8 students are in just a moment. Again, this is day 3 of the Global Amazing Shake competition.
Every one of you. Be proud, at a 7,400, you're the final 10. All right, but moving on to our final 8, we have Alec Wernes, Evelyn Blything, Morgan Clark, Dante Beaumont, Jack Harrington, Lucas Couto, and then our top 2 from the breakfast round coming in second place, Gregory Wright, and the winner of the breakfast round, Deasia Smith.
Top 8 students.
So proud of these students. And if you're just tuning in, we have been competing all weekend with students from 260 different competitors here from among 7,400 students across the country for the Global Amazing Shake. Now we have the final 8. This morning, these 10 participated in a Breakfast of Champions, Fine China. There was a harpist, black tie event to see how did they do in that type of setting, because a lot of the challenges have been bigger challenges on the stage. Now they're about to go into the debate round. So their knowledge of current events, the world, being able to think on their feet, being able to get their voices heard, but also not to speak over others and to listen.
Yes.
This is going to be interesting.
This round is going to be one to watch. It's really going to separate the students who have that awareness, that knowledge of current events, and being able to use that je ne sais quoi. The judges are going to be looking at a lot of different pieces this morning for the debate round.
Absolutely.
Do you pick your friends?
Oh,
Do you pick
so
nice
he's saying
people?
because
Do you pick people who would
Deasia
be good to
is
debate
the
about
first
against
round
because
winner
they know
right there, the
content?
#1
Who did you
seed, she gets to
choose? You had
choose
to pick
whom she is
those 3
debating
bidders.
against.
Greg, you came in second, so you get to choose. Do you want your group, because you cannot pick Greg, do you want to go first in the debate or second in the debate? If you go second, the 4 of you go to a holding area where you can't hear, and then you come back. So you have to decide.
Okay, I pick Dante, Evelyn, and Morgan.
Okay, excellent.
Deasia picking Dante, Evelyn, and Morgan to debate with her in her
Jack,
part of the
Dante,
debate round.
Alec, Jack, Greg, and Lucas, you will actually head behind stage right now. Head right this way. We're going to take you to a holding room where you can't hear, and we'll let you know as soon as it's time. Y'all want to take your positions?
All right, and the debate round is about to begin with these students.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
After the recent devastating earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, Canada has stated that they will be allowing individuals from those countries to stay longer in Canada, and they are making the process for them to get permanent visas quick and easy. What are the positives and negatives for a country with that type of policy?
One of the positives is that Canada has the opportunity to help thousands of people that are in danger or thousands of people that have nowhere to go. Earthquakes, devastating earthquakes like the ones they had in Turkey, they could leave a lot of people homeless, a lot of people without water, and a lot of people without electricity. So with Canada allowing them to come into their country and helping them to get visas, it's so noble, and I think it's a positive.
Sorry, go ahead. Thank you, Morgan. I agree. I think that this action by Canada is a great look on their country. It shows that they are willing to accept these people from Turkey and Syria who are truly not in a great situation, and their environment is taking what they have from them. I think maybe a potential negative could be that if they accept everybody from Turkey and Syria, then maybe other refugees from other countries would say that they could come to Canada as well, which could overpopulate their borders.
I totally agree with both of those points. I think it's awesome that Canada is looking to help those people who are in danger, but I think it's also a great learning experience for Canada as a nation to have these people from different places who have experienced these things that we really don't get in Canada, and to really learn about how we can help those people and also their culture and how they've overcome these challenges that they face in their own homes.
You know, I'd like to agree with what Dante said. Do other immigrants face it? Immigration is something that's a very controversial idea. So other immigrants who have been forced out of their homes that they immigrated to, how does that look, right? It was a tragedy, and it's amazing how these people are able to open up their hearts and show humility to these people who have been through such hard times. But how does it look from the other country's perspective? How other immigrants who have been forced out of these places, out of these countries, how does it feel for them?
And I totally agree at that point that a lot of other immigrants are trying to find their new home and trying to find a place where they are safe. But I also believe that all the responsibility cannot be put on Canada, that we all have to do our part. If you are a safe place to live, if you're not facing challenges at this time, you have to allow people who may be different from you, who maybe you don't feel comfortable with, but people who are facing the challenges, you have to let them into your home because they need it right now. They need a new home, and I don't think that should just be the responsibility of Canada, but really everyone, every nation that is safe right now, to let people who aren't safe into their home.
Additionally, and I'll pass it on to you, Deasia, how are these people going to find jobs, especially when they get to Canada, if they're not citizens of the nation? How are they going to find homes and places for shelter? I think that could also be a negative and one thing that's going to have to be sorted out with Canada. Deasia?
Yeah, I agree. I think Canada has regulations in place on the type of situations and the backgrounds of these immigrants that are either coming from Turkey or even, like Morgan pointed out, other countries that they're trying to immigrate from. And also, like, to make sure that their hospitals aren't overcrowded, that there are job opportunities for these people. If you're coming into a country for new opportunities and to escape something, of course you're going to want to have the opportunity to get a job and make a life for yourself and for your children. So I think it's important that Canada, it's good that Canada is allowing these people to come into their country, and I hope that they have a set structure in place that is going to allow these people to be successful and they didn't just come all the way over to Canada for nothing.
I think that's an incredible point, looking at the structure that Canada's created so these people will have the best environment possible and also be safe at the same time, and I think that that's a really great point.
Yeah, in addition to that, we must make sure that Canada is not a doormat. With this, it gives off the idea that any immigrant can come, right? What if all of these immigrants are being invited into this country, and it's incredible, it's amazing, it's inspiring, especially for all these other countries who are deciding whether or not they want to allow immigrants in. But also, we must make sure that it does not become a place where illegal immigrants can come in and disregard the conditions, right? These people are here because they need a place to stay because their country is not a stable place. So that must be remembered, and Canada must stay strong with that and be able to keep their ground while also maintaining that home for all of these people without homes.
And additionally,
Thank you.
Okay.
Who do you feel will be the Democratic nominee for president? Who do you feel will be the Democratic nominee for president in the 2024 U.S. election?
I believe that the Democratic nominee for president in 2024 will once again be Joe Biden. He has major support from his Democratic Party. His approval rate is currently rising, and he believes that if he stays in good health, he will be able to run again. Yeah.
Totally agree with Dante. As I was doing research over this for the past couple of days, I was looking up how Joe Biden has been actually He's been doing things. He's been improving as the president. His approval rating, like they're the highest that they've ever been. And with everything that's going on in the country and how inflation is rising, I think it'll be important to see how he decides to handle these situations and how he puts bills and plans and regulations in place to not only lower the rise of inflation, but to make sure that America gets back into a state of economic growth. And as long as he stays in good health and he can make good and conscious decisions, I think that Biden would be who I think would be the Democratic nominee for 2024.
And and I also think that Biden is a great candidate, but at the same time, I feel that one of the main reasons why he was chosen to be the nominee and to be able to become president was because they wanted Trump out of office. A lot of Democrats were looking to get him out of office, and that was one of their main goals, and they felt that Biden was the best way to do that. And I'm not saying he has not been a great president. He has created so much change. I truly believe that he is a role model for all of us, but also because of his age and because of how old he is becoming, I think that they may try and look a different way in office again, because though we want to get Trump out of office, which I think is a lot of Democrats' goals, I think that Biden is also getting at a really old age, and a lot of people think that that is a con.
So Morgan, if not Biden, then who would your selection be? I'm interested.
Right. That's a great question. So Kamala Harris would be my selection because I also believe, like we've been talking about, a lot of immigrants and people from different countries are coming to the U.S. and as more and more people who look different than us and who speak different languages and have different cultures come into our nation, I think that they will look to have more diversity in office. And I think Kamala Harris is a great example of a strong woman who has a different culture and will bring new ideas to office. And I think that as more and more people like that come into America, they will look for someone like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that idea. My question is, she has been such a great vice, and so many people look up to her. But is that the role that she's willing to take on? She is such a strong leader, and she has proved herself time and time again. But honestly, is that what she wants? I would like to say Biden will run. He is, again, the safest option. He has done so much for the Democrats as it is, and right now, him being the current president puts him at an advantage, right? Because he already has the experience. Yes, Donald Trump has a term in his pocket, but, you know, I think Biden is already the president, and again, he is popular. He is well-liked among the nation.
Thank you. The U.S. and Canada are both experiencing extraordinarily high inflation. If you were the leader of the U.S. or Canada, how would you tackle the issue and get inflation under control?
I think
Go ahead.
I think one thing that I would continue to do as the Biden administration has already been doing, raising interest rates. So it is much harder to get the money in the pockets of these people who are trying to get houses and trying to get loans, because if you raise interest rates, it increases the value of the American dollar as well as other countries' money.
I think that's a great point of how you can actually take action to actually stop interest. But I think that one of the main things that you have to do is look at how you can break the cycle. I see inflation as a type of vicious cycle where as prices keep on going up, for example, a farmer would have to pay more to move his apples from one place to another. He would have to pay more for gas and for a truck and for the seeds to actually grow the apples. And as things grow because of inflation, the price of them also grow, and therefore inflation keeps on happening. So I think the ability to break that cycle and break that vicious cycle, I think that's a great way to do it.
And how do you suggest we break the cycle?
Right, so again, Dante's point about interest rates, I think that that's a great way to look at it, but I don't personally have any real ideas, but I think that whoever our next leader is, bringing it back our last debate, I think they have to focus on that problem as it's something that keeps on growing because of the cycle that I've talked about.
When there's less of something and saturating a market, then that means that the value of it increases, and that's really what we need the American dollar to do right now. I don't know if you guys heard, but in California, Silicon Bank closed because they didn't have any money left. And so I think it's important to, like Dante said, raise the interest rates to make it harder for people to get this money so that therefore it will be less saturation within the market and allowing the American dollar to increase value so that we can get America into a state of economic growth.
Thank you. Donald Trump stated that he is going to be arrested on Tuesday. because the Manhattan District Attorney says he didn't report a campaign donation appropriately. Donald Trump is calling this a witch hunt and saying he did nothing wrong. In addition, he is asking for his supporters to riot on Tuesday. If he does get arrested, do you think that would hurt him or help his chances of becoming the Republican for president in 2024?
I think in all honesty, it might help him become the president in 2024. His followers are extremely loyal and devoted to him. So if they see this person who they truly look up to and are willing to vote for him no matter what, I think it could cause more enthusiasm about Donald Trump.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. I think that the reason that Trump is such a controversial topic is because he has done some questionable things that people have questioned and said maybe he should go to jail already for this and maybe he should be already in jail. But I think that really has made the people who support him so much stronger because he said, fight with me, join with me, try and stop these people that are telling me that I did all these things wrong. And I think that that is what has made him so powerful so far. That is what has gotten him all these followers, and I think that is what's going to help him get the presidential election.
You know,
and
yeah, go ahead, finish. Yeah,
sorry.
so go, you finish? Yeah?
I'm like,
All right, we're good. Those are very good points, but I'd also like to point out that Republicans are already at a crossroad between the ideas that Trump has had and the past that he has, and also they are confused on whether or not he is uplifting the values that they believe as a party. So I do not think that it will help him because if the people who are already torn between being loyal and also, you know, following what they believe the morals of the Republican Party believe, they might think that this is the final straw. They may think that Trump needs to put it to rest. Although it could help many people who are loyal supporters stick with him and fight with him through all of it, it could have other people doubt his ability.
I totally agree.
You know, Evelyn, if anything, this is just a campaign strategy for Trump. If they're going to arrest Trump for what he's doing now, then there should have been some action being taken January 6th when he incited the riot at the Capitol. And if they didn't arrest him then, they're not going to arrest him now. And if he incites another riot, they're not going to arrest him then. And I mean, Republicans love Trump. That's their man. And I think that him inciting the riot and getting his supporters more riled up and getting behind his back, I think that's his strategy to get these people on the bandwagon for him so that when he announces that he's going to, you know, be in the run for the Republican nominee, his supporters are going to be behind him, allowing him to have an actual potential to run in the election.
Additionally, his way to enthuse his voters, and he uses, I guess you could say, a type of propaganda. He will say, he doesn't say that he did anything wrong, and it really backs his voters behind him. It's similar to the Andrew Tate situation in Romania. People think that he didn't do anything, and when he got arrested, it backed his voters behind him. So I think it could have a similar effect with Donald Trump.
Yeah, but I think that you had a great point. But also, I would love to say that I think that Trump supporters and Republicans with different beliefs, and sure, they can overlap at times, but I don't want to put them in the same boat as they are the same types of people because I think the Republicans have certain beliefs and Trump believers have certain beliefs as well. And I think that kind of tying in what we've all been saying is that for the people who are on the edge, like you've been saying, who are saying that maybe Trump isn't the best choice because of all these questionable things he's done, I think that for them, this will definitely push them over the edge. But for Trump supporters, it will definitely make them become even stronger. I think it's really about, in the Republican Party, how many are against Trump and how many are supporters of him.
All right, thank you very much. Everyone, let's give Evelyn Morgan.
So there you have it, the very first set of students in the debate round. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the top 8 competition of the Global Amazing Shake. Those are middle school students debating right then.
Wow, discussing big topics
sure
that
the
most
judges
adults
are
couldn't have an
clear,
opinion on or discuss in depth like these students. So impressive. Talking about top topics, what really makes the final round, and really the Amazing Shake in general, giving students the opportunity to know what's happening in the world, have a thought, have an opinion, and be able to go deep. And so we saw that here with the first judged for the top 8.
That's absolutely true, and they're not being judged, of course, on what their opinions are, but their ability to be able to express their opinion, to be able to hold true to that, to bring in other examples to support their opinion. I thought a couple of them had some really great things there. Dante coming in, sliding in there at the end there, so they really did a great job. And do they listen to each other, though, and build off of that and debate each other well? I thought it was interesting at the beginning. You know, I think the whole thing kind of took a turn when all of a sudden Deasia asked a question of one other candidate.
That was a smart strategy.
A smart strategy. So.
Yeah, she's like, so who do you think would be the Democratic nominee, right? And so it kind of threw her off just a little bit. And so you can see the students being respectful here, having conversations, or that they get the edge, that judges remember them and know that, you know.
All 4 students, though, I don't know how the judges are going to select because they're all extraordinary in their own right. Extraordinary. So now we're about to have the next 4. Let's see how they do.
Are coming to the stage now, so I don't know if they'll get the same questions or not.
They've been in a holding room where they could not hear the last debate, so we'll see how they do.
Yes, we'll see how they do here, and it's about to begin, so let's tune in.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
To become president in the United States, you have to be at least 35 years old. To become Prime Minister of Canada, you only need to be 18 years old. Which country's age requirement do you feel is best?
I believe that America's age limit is the best because being age 35, you've gone through life, you have your experience, you've gone through the things that you need to go through to make you a human being. At 18 years old, you're just getting out of high school. You haven't even entered college at this point. So you don't even know what you're gonna do in life. And you're trying to be the prime minister. You need more experience, more life to live, and that you have lived.
Yep. Greg nailed it. I think that his response was amazing, and I feel like America's presidential election for 35 years old or older, I feel like that's amazing because you have that experience in life, and you could talk to the older presidents, and you could talk to the older people in the government, and they'll give you tips and tricks on what some of the mistakes that they made, and I feel like that's amazing and very important to get off of. And I feel like what he said, you're running for prime minister right after you graduate from college, and from high school, and I feel like that's just very, you're not disciplined, and I feel like you're not mature yet.
Thank you two for those points, but I think we should take into consideration the age gap. Now that you guys were saying 18 to 35, that is a large age gap, but what we could do is find an alternative. So although 35 is a reasonable age, we could possibly move that 35 to maybe 30 and that 18 to 22 or 21. So if we find maybe an alternative, so the Canada Prime Minister, which is 18, if we push that up a little bit, that could help out because 3 years is a big difference, as we all know, and move the president's age 35 a little bit more lower, we have opportunities to get newer generations because people who are 5 years age difference, it can make a big difference, and you grow up differently. So I feel as though we could possibly find an alternative for that.
I love what everybody's saying, but I'm actually going to go for I'm from Canada, and I'm actually going to go a different way and say that I think that the Canadian way of that 18 years old is actually more beneficial. I feel like because to get more young people into voting and to contribute to our society, I think it's important to get more to relate to them. Also in Canada, we see that still not many 18-year-olds are running, and usually they gain experience, but if there was an 18-year-old that was respected by their party and they still have to be voted in by their party. So I see like an age limit is not really strictly, because if that full party actually believes that somebody younger would represent them better in their voting, I think that that's good. Setting an age limit in it's a mandatory age, I think it's better if it's reduced like in the US to 18, because then they're still an adult, but they have to the party still gets to choose whether they are responsible for the role, and that's a decision the party can make, not altogether.
Well, Jack, I think we could make a compromise here. We could make it to where at 18 you could do some sort of internship with people so that you could follow in their footsteps while still being young. So when you do get to that age, you are properly prepared, because some are not properly and mentally, physically prepared for that job of prime minister or president. So if we could find a way to get them some internships, like many college students do have some days, then we could get them to learn more about it. And then when they do get to that certain age, they can and will be ready for that presidential or prime minister job.
So what you're suggesting is that we create sort of a shadow, like you said, internship.
Yes.
So okay. So would you suggest in Canada and USA they have similar?
I would suggest.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. I would suggest it be similar in a way, just have internships so the younger children, the brain trust of our society can learn more from older and wiser leaders. Because the older, the wiser. You may be smarter as a younger person, but that doesn't mean you're wiser. That doesn't mean you know more about life. So those internships would help a lot.
Right, that makes sense. But like I totally agree with what all of you guys are saying. But I feel like once you start to if you create an internship for these people when they're 18 to grow to 35, suddenly the younger population of voting will suddenly not feel as connected to you as it grows. And we see in Canada and in the US, there's a lot of changes, and we're starting to grow with technology. So I feel like younger people really have a voice, and a lot of people that I talk to feel really disconnected from politics because it seems like a lot of older people are taking part in it in the US. And because I feel like it's easier and better if younger people can connect to these people. Also, I get what you're saying about the internship, how it's easy and older people are wiser, but I guess they still have advisors that can help them through their decision making when they're in president, and that relation to younger people I think would be really important.
I counter from Jack because I feel like you have to go through that college class. You have classes like law, government, and all those classes, and I feel like going right out of high school and graduate, you're not prepared enough. And I feel like going to college and getting your master's degree for government or law and all those classes, I feel like that'll make you a better president. And I feel like in Canada, they should move the age limit up just because they haven't got that college class information yet, and I feel like college classes is a lot more matured than high school classes.
Right. So let me ask you, so what is your solution for people who are maybe 18, they just finished high school, and they're saying, you know what, no, I want to get straight into college, straight into the internships. What is your solution for those people? Should there be a requirement for them? Do they need to have at least a bachelor's or master's degree, or can they just boom, get straight into it?
Yeah, I definitely feel you should have a degree in some sort, because that'll make sure that you have that experience and that information that you know about being a prime minister or a president. And I feel like the U.S., the presidential candidates should be 35 years old in order to run. But I feel like the prime minister, in order to vote or to be a candidate for the prime minister, you have to be older, because I feel like just being a representative in that place, you just have to have more experience. And I feel like experience is key for being a president or a prime minister in today's world.
So last night, there were mysterious streaks all over the sky in California. And just last week, the chief of the Pentagon said that it is very possible that there's an alien mothership in our solar system that is sending smaller pods to watch our planet. What do you think the likelihood of that happening? What's the likelihood of that?
I feel as though that is a small, slim chance of likelihood. We've had situations before where it's supposedly that a U.S. airplane is in the air and they spot an unknown object, an unknown hover, and they suggest, oh, this could be a UFO. So I believe people for some time have been kind of wanting and wishing to prove that there are aliens, but the most likely case scenario is it was either a ship or just happened to be a flashing light. So most likely it was not an alien, I believe, or just, yes.
Lucas, I see it as, do you know how big this universe is? First off, we don't even know everything about our Earth. So taking into account how big the universe is, I'm sure there are aliens in our solar system. We just haven't found them yet. There's definitely aliens because our universe is so big. Everything is living somewhere. We just don't have the technology, the knowledge, and the funds to go figure out what it is.
I feel like the likelihood for aliens coming to Earth, I feel like that's a really slim chance, like what Lucas said. And I feel like that could also be a part of a rocket or a spaceship in the air, in space. And I feel like that could be falling down and flying through, like you said, California. And I feel like that's the likelihood of it being an alien is really a slim chance. And I feel like how big an alien mothership would be couldn't send all the little ships out.
I love that. I think I'm going to kind of go down like the middle road here and say like, yes, I do believe that there is extraterrestrial life out, yet I believe that it was not aliens that they saw in California, and that maybe there aren't as aliens as technologically advanced that are sending pods that are in our solar system, because I feel like, yes, there are extraterrestrial life, but I also feel like the slim chance of them actually being such more technological advanced and being able to like come and spy on Earth, I feel like that would be like a little bit far-fetched.
All right, guys. So it's far-fetched. So why would the head of the Pentagon's UAP, UFO task force, the person who's in charge of this, even make such a statement if it's not plausible?
Well, they could possibly be wrong, and no one's perfect in this world, and I feel like everyone has something, and I feel like the person in the Pentagon that found that alien mothership is like false. I think it's false that there's a mothership, because like what Greg said, we haven't even found everything in this universe yet. So I don't think we could see anything out through the solar system or something flying through California. And I feel like that's a really slim chance that the person from the Pentagon.
I really like that point, Alec. It's really just saying it could happen. It's just putting it out there. Definitely. It's an unlikely chance, but it's just putting that idea out there that it could be that. Don't rule it off, because even if something is a 99.99% chance of not happening, it still can't happen.
Correct. Yes, this is all hypothetical. Now, obviously, I believe that once we see concrete evidence, because this is all, maybe we've seen this, we think that it's this, but until we get concrete evidence that this is something that is unusual, this is something that is not supposed to be here, then that's when I think we should go for it and just kind of observe it a little more. But I believe this is all hypothetical, so we don't know what it is exactly.
I would also like to bring up human nature for a second. Like, Mr. Clark, thank you for the question about how like the head of the Pentagon actually believed that there are alien motherships out there. But two things. First, human nature, when we tend to see things, we tend to, number one, our brain comes up with reasons for what that could be happening if we do not know the actual scientific reason for it. And number two, a lot of the time we tend to overreact, and in a stressful situation like the head of the Pentagon, where you're trying to stay in office and when a lot of people on the news are watching over you, I think that it's also very necessary to like appeal to a lot of people who like action or help the news grow with making a really big story out there, because that will get more people to view your story. I feel like that's a thing in politics, and not only that human nature to like kind of take a step forward and our brains try to explain something that we don't actually know is happening. I feel like that's really interesting, because there's actually this really cool fact that our brain actually, what we see in our surroundings, some of it our brain actually makes up what we can't see from different past experiences and different things. It's almost like AI, how it like builds off memory and what they've seen. So I feel human nature off like maybe we haven't discovered a scientific phenomenon, would actually be very interested in seeing how our brains would actually come up with these reasons to explain something that we can't explain at that point.
Okay, the Biden administration recently decided to use billions of dollars to pay back individuals and businesses that had money in Silicon Valley Bank. If banks conduct their business in a way that could lead to a potential collapse, should the government use taxpayer money to cover the expense of paying back those who have deposits in those banks?
Yes, currently right now, I believe that is the right decision. we can take into spending so much money. One includes Ukraine and Russia. We're giving over $20 billion in financial aid, and now this. So I believe that we need to use the taxpayer money because we're already $300 trillion in debt of our own debt. So I think that we have to use our taxpayers' money, unfortunately. So sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. So I think we should.
But at the same time, Lucas, I get what you're saying. It really does help because we don't want another Great Depression to happen.
Exactly.
And that's what Joe Biden was trying to keep from happening. But the bad part about it is, what if this happens again? Can we afford to do that again? It's one of those things where it's like, it's gonna be taken advantage of because my mom always tells me this, when something happens, people are gonna start, other people are gonna want to do it again. Like when you let people into your life, people are gonna wanna keep doing stuff with you. And it's like, do you want them to keep crashing these banks? They're gonna be like, okay, give us our money back. We want our money back. Are you gonna give it to us? And you don't wanna do that because America, we can't afford to keep doing this. We're already in debt, so we can't afford to keep giving this money back to people. There's money. Like, why do these taxpayers put their money into tax? We want things to get done. We don't want this just going into a bank. We don't want all of our tax money going into one thing. We want it going into education. We want it to go into every other program that can help our society, not just this bank.
I totally understand what you're saying here, but I feel like when you're talking about how like these banks or these people may continue to exploit this system, I feel like that's what the investigation after the fact is what's for, because it's to prove that if they made a bad decision, there will be consequences in the future and try to understand what exactly happened, because we don't know at this point. I feel in a sudden rush to kind of stop another huge recession is that I feel like it was important for the government to take action, because like I feel like I want to like start talking about like what kind of clients the Silicon Valley Bank kind of works toward. I feel like, so a lot of people tell us tech is our future. Like tech is growing constantly and constantly and constantly. And something that Silicon Valley Bank invests in a lot is startup tech companies. And it's important to keep these tech companies afloat if they truly are our future and if we truly need them to progress society and advance.
I feel like it's very wrong to tax the people and give the government more money, because I feel like when you deposit money into a bank, the bank is taking some money out of there, and I feel like they're already taking enough money that it's just a steal. So when the government wants to pay the tax or wants the people to pay the taxes, they're just losing even more money and the bank is committing a crime, and I feel like that is very wrong because they're technically stealing money from the citizens, and that money from the citizens is very people worked hard for that, and I feel like it's very wrong to commit a crime even though you're the government.
Thank you, everyone. Let's give Alec, Greg, Jack, and Lucas a round of applause.
And there we have it, the final 4 of the top 8 completing their debate round, giving their thoughts and views on what happened in Silicon Valley, on the presidential elections, on the economy, all types of current events topics, political topics.
Lucas
Again, not being
60.
judged, Kim, on their opinions, what they believe, but how are they able to make a point and then back it up?
Right. Are they able to express themselves, defend their point, have details to back up why they believe what they believe, bring in other examples to compare that, how they're gracious to the other fellow competitors, but also how they get their points across.
All of those things are part of this. And so there are 10 judges that are judging these students, community business leaders, and they are down there listening to everything they say. Their scores are being tabulated now, so we're going to see from among these top 8 who did the best.
Yes.
How would you do? I know if you're listening at home, you're probably thinking, how would I answer this? I know I was all throughout. What would be my answers to some of these questions? I think they did a phenomenal job for middle school students.
Middle school students, wow. Incredible. And these topics are so hard. I wonder if some of the students, knowing, would it be easier to argue a certain point because of the audience or because of what the judges may believe, or do they actually go with what they believe and speak on those points? And so those are some of the things that the kids, think about when they're on stage as well. So a lot of strategy here, even at this round.
Because, in debate competitions, sometimes you have to defend a point you really don't believe,
in.
but you have to be able to debate it well. So it is interesting. Did they really believe what they were saying, or are they trying to sometimes counter their opponent? So let's go back to the main stage and see what they have to say about how well they did.
Yes, let's tune in.
Came here. Everybody in this auditorium is truly amazing, and thank you all, and thank you, Mr. Clark, for hosting this.
Appreciate you. So, how did you feel about the people you had to debate against?
Everyone that I had to debate against was very talented in a way, and everyone was so unique that it was so different, and everyone got to talk at least in equal amount. And I feel like that's amazing because we're creating a team, and we're cooperating with each other and getting to know each other's answers. And I feel like that is very important for debating against other people.
So, when you walk off the stage, are you instantly thinking, I should have said this, I should have said that? What's going through your mind?
I think I'm really trying to take Colin's advice to heart. I just want to live in the moment, say now that it's over with. I did it. I did my best, and that's all I could ask for. I know Mr. Clark said always try to do it like your second time, but I know that I truly did my best, and I was just thinking, I did it, and I was excited for I had some great competitors, and I was excited for the next group to go.
Mm-hmm. Is it hard when you have a point and you want to make it, and then someone else goes before you and says the point you wanted to make?
It is hard because then you have to make up another point. But for me, I keep 3-4 points on me at once just so I'm ready to counter. I learned this a lot in Mr. Bonner's class. I don't know if he's in here somewhere. Everybody's always talking in his class, so you have to think on your feet and create another point, and it's really helped me to get here and go through this debate round.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think the position of where you placed yourself behind the podium has any effect on anything?
I do believe it does. What I notice a lot of times is, especially if you're in the center, people, especially here, over there, they focus more towards the center. So when you're talking, they'll realize you more to the side, more straightforward. So if I'm on the side here, some people might be like, "Who is that guy?" But But the main point is, yes, it definitely does make a difference. It for sure does.
It's good to be able to express your points, but it's also very important to be a good listener. And what I liked is that you took a moment to actually ask a question. So do you think it's equally as important to listen as it is to speak?
I do. We will not know what to say or how to act if we're not respectful. Honestly, half of a debate is realizing, appreciating what other people say and building upon that and using their ideas to add to your point. Honestly, asking a question can help clarify. It can help you have more knowledge on the topic and add to the overall conversation.
So you competitors, at any moment in the debate, did you go, that was a bad choice? Or
Surprisingly, no. I was confident in my team. I picked the people for a reason. I know Dante and I, we have conversations about politics all the time, whether it be just when we see each other during school or after school or anything like that. And then I picked Evelyn and Morgan because I know that they can take a strong stance, and I know that as I'm listening to their points, I will be able to feed off of their energy and what they're saying.
All right. So if y'all could back up just a little bit. So we have our top 5. Moving on.
Where's the top 5?
Oh. In 5th place, Evelyn Blything.
Evelyn Blything moving on. The number 5 spot.
Evelyn just talking about the importance of listening to others and learning from them. I think she'll flee.
Yes.
4th place, Jack Harrington.
Jack Harrington moving on in 4th place. He did phenomenal in the debate round as well with his group.
He really did. He had some great points, I think, about
Dante
Canada.
Beaumont.
Dante Beaumont, phenomenal job. Moving on in 3rd place.
True joy right there.
2nd place, Morgan Clark.
Wow. Morgan Clark moving on in 2nd place. She had strong viewpoints there as well. And now we're going to find out who the 1st place
and
is.
And our winner of this round, Deasia Smith.
Moving on.
You know, and Deasia took an interesting strategy there. She was choosing competitors to debate against, and instead of choosing who she thought may not have good answers, she chose the strongest people that she felt would contribute to the debate, which is very confident of her. And it's a really interesting strategy.
That is an interesting strategy, because I would have picked folks who potentially wouldn't have as stronger points and that I would be able to shine. But she said, no, I want this conversation to be fruitful, to be energetic. Let's do this together. And that really proved. I thought that first round, they really had a well thought out conversation. And so that strategy that Deasia went into it with, I think really worked well.
It really did. It helped her to be able to dig deeper, and all the candidates really fed off of each other and really had a really thoughtful discussion. So this is exciting. All 8 candidates, my goodness, what extraordinary middle school students.
Congratulations to all top 8. Now we got our top 5 moving on to one-on-one interviews on stage. And now this is we're gonna find out after this round who the winners are. I think the judges are gonna be swapped out. So a lot to watch this morning. So let's move on to the stage to see what's happening there.
Evelyn, you're gonna go 3rd. Morgan, you're gonna go 2nd. So I got 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Dante's gonna go 4th. I'll go 5th.
Okay, got it? I don't remember who you said. Dante's first?
No.
Jack's first?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
All right, so everyone go to the holding area. Jack, you be right here behind the curtain. So everyone else go to the holding area.
It's a totally different round, totally different skill set they're being assessed on, and we don't want our judges to be
So while they
swayed
set
by
up the
what they
stage,
witnessed in the
are being swapped in. I think there are going to be a few that are there.
Few that are there?
Yeah, we swapped out the morning judges with the final. The folks who judge the morning rounds aren't judging the final 2. So the breakfast rounds, they aren't judging the final 2, but we do have some new ones coming in for these final 2 rounds. So now we're getting the stage set. You know,
exciting.
making all the logistics work for this is a mammoth task. So I want to give a shout out to all our team members who work behind the scenes to make this happen. Pulling judges, production, a lot to make this happen. So just a shout out
and
to
I
our
want to
team.
give a shout out to you. So Kirk is our Chief Development and Communications Officer. How many volunteers were required to be?
Hundreds
Hundreds of volunteers
yeah.
to make this happen from the community, and organizing all those people, you know, getting those people to come on their weekends, their free time. It's really been exciting. Very exciting.
Yep.
So let's bring out your 2022.
All right, so now our Global Amazing Shake champion, Colin Moore, is going to be helping to moderate this round, the final round. Colin is a student at Phillips Exeter, and he's coming back to host this round, and our judge is going to be judging the conversation.
Fitting,
yes.
Very fitting. He
He's
looks
so
awfully sharp today, doesn't he?
So, as the Global Amazing Shake champion, you spent the past year traveling the world representing the Global Amazing Shake. I'm joking. No, you haven't. But so you're at Phillips Exeter. How's it going?
Going well.
Top boarding school in the entire country. Very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What's been the hardest thing for you this past year?
This past year, I think the hardest thing for me was just getting into that new environment of the new school. You know, I've been here at RCA for 4 years. I made a lot of strong relationships with all my fellow classmates and schoolmates and teachers as well. And so going to a new place, a new state without my family there, I had to move into a different mindset that's like just me now. Even though I have such a strong connection and such a strong community back home, I'm like, even though I'm here, I'm not gonna forget about the family back home. I'm gonna always be talking to them, and so they give me strength up there. Everyone here gives me strength, so I just appreciate all of you guys.
Thank you, buddy. So you're going to interview one-on-one. I'm only giving 3 minutes for each one, so it's going to go kind of fast, okay?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to start with Jack, all right?
All right.
Let's give it up for Jack Harrington.
What's up? What's up, Jack? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, yeah. I'm still kind of astounded that I'm here. It's really awesome.
You're doing great, man. You're doing great. All right, first question I'm going to ask you is, I know you want to win this competition, but tell me, why do you want to win the Amazing Shake?
Why I want to win the Amazing Shake? Okay, I love that question. I think there's a couple reasons why I want to win the Amazing Shake. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved talking to people. So I would literally walk up to those people and just start chatting with them. And a lot of people just stared at me. Some people walked away. But I found I met a lot of really cool people, the people that actually decided to engage with me. When I went to a hotel, I would sit in the hot tub, go back to my mom and tell the people, all about their occupation, all about their job and everything that they've done. I feel like I've carried that throughout my life, try to be a leader, try to speak, and I think this competition is really amazing, and I'd love to win it.
Yeah, speaking on this competition, can you give me 3 words that you think can sum up the weekend from your perspective?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, and speaking of this weekend, speaking of this competition, do you think you can give me 3 words that sum up this weekend from your perspective?
Okay, so the first word that I'm gonna go is stressful. So it was a very stressful, but of course your impromptu speech was amazing at the start, and once I started going through the gauntlet and started having more fun, that stress started to float away and tried to enjoy the moment, find some people that I really connected with and really enjoyed it. Yeah. I think the second word, I would say amazing, of course. It's the Amazing Shake. It was pretty cool. Of course, the song that we learned at the start, like, this is amazing, yeah.